Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast, brought to you by BuckeyeHuddle.com. I am Mark Givler, joined by Tony Gerdeman today. It is a commitment edition of the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast. Ohio State has landed class of 2028 defensive lineman Jameer Whyce out of Trotwood, Madison, Dayton area powerhouse here in Ohio. Weiss is widely considered to be Ohio's top prospect in the 2028 recruiting class. So just a sophomore, but already a big-time player. 247 Sports has him rated as the early number 9 prospect in the entire country. In various, he's either, depending where you look, he's either 1 or 2 among defensive linemen in the 2028 class. So now we can just stop talking about defensive line recruiting, right, Tony? They got one that's going to be on campus in 3 years. We don't need to worry about it anymore, correct?
You said it. They got one. There you go. On to the next chapter. Currently now the number 1 2028 class in the nation. Close that one down. Close that argument down as well. But yeah, what's always interesting to me is when you've got these young guys that are so big. Are they dominating because they're bigger earlier than everybody else? And then how do they develop as they get older and everybody catches up to them? And so was it like Jayshon Cornell, way back when, was like the number 1 player in the 2015 class for a little bit from ESPN. And it seemed like he was just more advanced than everybody at a younger age. And then seemingly the ages caught up with him. With Jameer Whyce, who, we'll probably talk about it, but he's listed at 6'4", 270. Is there any way he stays on the outside? I mean, where is he maneuvering inside and outside right now? Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of questions, but 6'4", 270 as a sophomore, that's a pretty good answer.
Yeah, and I think, to kind of separate from Cornell a little bit, with Cornell, he was thought of when he was like a sophomore. He's this long, lean defensive end, and his body just kind of blew up on him, and he became a defensive tackle. I think we know earlier what Jameer Whyce is. He's going to be an inside guy, but a guy with some explosiveness that can rush the passer. We've got a little bit of freshman film because they haven't put out his sophomore film yet, but incredibly explosive, as you can see there. Can play played outside quite a bit as a freshman, can play inside as well, will play inside at Ohio State, going to be one of those 6'4", kind of 290-pound defensive tackles with tremendous explosiveness, super, super long arms. So he's really tough for offensive linemen to handle. He's especially those guards where the usually guards have a shorter wingspan than your offensive tackles. So when you've got these long-armed guys that play on the interior, it can be really tough for those guys because he's reaching them before they can reach him. And he is just an absolute prototype interior pass rusher. He has the potential to be absolutely tremendous and be a potential 5-star prospect. We talked about him a little bit over the summer, how impressed we were with him. Ohio State offered him over the summer, was one of the stars of Ohio State's June camp period. And, I think everyone kind of imagined that eventually this would happen, but it happened awfully early in the process. And I guess kudos to Ohio State here for jumping in on him super early. They were not following the trends on that. He didn't have Alabama and Georgia and US, he didn't have all the big offers. And then Ohio State's like, well, I guess he's an in-state kid with these offers. I guess we better offer him. No, Ohio State beat all that to the punch. They got in front of this one before it went national. It will go national. I know everyone. I'm not predicting a flip or anything like that, but eventually your Alabamas and Georgias are going to get their hands on his sophomore film, and you're going to see those offers go out probably this winter and spring. But Ohio State in there early and gets the commitment, and there's, with an in-state kid, good reason that would stick. And, also close with Jamir Brown, which is a good thing. Your 2027 star commit from Huber Heights Wayne, same part of the state. Those two are close. So a lot of good things here for Ohio State, but it's just got to feel good to have one of these guys in your home state, and you're not going down to Florida or Alabama or Georgia or North Carolina trying to pull these guys.
Yeah. I mean, since he's not a defensive back, there's a better chance of keeping him in state, seemingly. But when you look at him, and so these early, there are certain Ohio kids where it's like, yeah, you do it. is what Weiss 5 years ago when it was 85 scholarships and no NIL, is he still being offered at the same time in your opinion?
Yeah, because he's just such a unique prospect because you can find running backs, receivers, defensive backs. Those things they grow on trees. You can walk into any major metro area and find a dozen of those types of kids. It's really hard to find guys that fit his physical profile. It's such a premium position. I think certainly edge rushers are all the rage, and they're great. Don't get me wrong, but there's something to be said for interior pass rushers that if you ask a lot of quarterbacks, they would rather face a dominant edge rusher than a dominant interior pass rusher because they can step up and there's things you can do to kind of mitigate that. It is awfully hard to game plan around a guy pushing your center or guard right back into your quarterback. It just, I mean, not to go full homer on everybody, but like that's how the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl last year. Is they just interior push was just overwhelming teams, and we're seeing, Kansas City's been able to do that with Chris Jones over the years. Like if you can disrupt things from up the middle in terms of pass rush, it creates a whole new set of problems.
Well, and we're even seeing that a little bit with Ohio State when Caden Curry is at the nose tackle, or you've got the spy blitz from Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese up the middle. These quarterbacks don't like defenders right in their face, and Weiss, that looks like his future. Mark, I love the comps. When we do these shows, I got to throw out my comp. And this one, I'm going to say Adolphus Washington as a sophomore and a half at Ohio State, because he was a defensive end in 2012, and he was a defensive end in 2013 as a sophomore until he got hurt, and he came back, and Joey Bosa had his job, so he decided, well, if I'm ever going to play again, I'm going to need to be a three-tech. And, he put on his weight and became, I believe, a first-team All-American or a second-team All-American as a three-tech at Ohio State. Pass rusher supreme, had all of the experience outside in high school, and did the thing that Larry Johnson loves, which is you're a defensive end, big defensive end in high school will turn you into a three-tech. Draymond Jones, another example of that. So there you go. Adolphus Washington as an experienced college player.
Yeah, it's a good comp. They certainly hope that's the type of player he's going to be. I look at him, I see a lot of Edric Houston. But he's a little bit more, again, Edric wasn't quite this big as a sophomore either. So he's a little bit more advanced physically than those guys, just weight and just not as much, I guess, room that, those guys were going to put on 30, 40 pounds between their sophomore years of high school and their, sophomore years at Ohio State. I don't think we're going to see that with Jamir. I think he's going to arrive within 10 pounds probably of what his playing weight's going to be. But, I think that's what they're hoping to get is that type of interior pass rushing presence who can also, again, you can put him on it. You can put him on the end and goal line. There's just a lot of things you can do. Again, super long. Watching him kind of work and watching his wingspan in person, it's like, wow, put him on kick block, field goal block. And, we're seeing a lot of, especially in the NFL the last few weeks, we're seeing a lot of kicks get blocked up the middle. Just like that looks like something that he could do as well. But just an explosive athlete, premium position. Ohio State really needs Ohio to start producing some guys like this. So this is big. Yeah,
it is. And, Will Smith is an Ohio guy in the interior, but it has taken some time. And when he was a high school junior or high school sophomore, he wasn't looking like a future nose tackle at Ohio State. So to have somebody like this already, and then, it doesn't surprise you that Ohio State wants to lock them up as quickly as possible. And then also here in the near future, Jamir Brown having his lawsuit and the NIL deal situated so that the Ohio kids can be kept home by Ohio through NIL means will be an interesting follow. Because, we've seen a lot of Ohio kids leave out of state. And what Ohio State doesn't want to see in football is the AAU-ization of recruiting, because there's no such thing as in-state recruiting almost anymore at high level in basketball. There's no way they want to lose that in football.
Yeah, they got to figure that out. And, guys, pointing to guys like Jameer Whyce will hopefully help that get through, because you can say you don't want it, but here's the problem. It's like cat's out of the bag, toothpaste out of the tube. It's happening in other states around the country. So you can either embrace it and get it in now, or you can watch kids like this go play their high school football in California, and then good luck. Good luck holding on to them and hoping that happens. I mean, they've been able to do it with Chris Henry Jr., but my goodness, I don't think you want that becoming a trend. So this is a really, I almost look, it's up to these kids when they want to decide. So I'm not trying to play God here on that, but it's almost unfortunate he decided this early, because I don't think it's going to be met with maybe the enthusiasm it should. There hasn't quite been enough time to build his kind of profile and brand and everything else as a high school star. And people are going, well, it's 2 years away, 2.5 years away. You can't sign. And it's like, well, yeah, but this is like a potential 5-star defensive lineman. This is a really big deal. Just like I said the same thing. I said, I know when Jamir Brown committed, I said, I know it's a little ways off. I know Ohio State's used to getting big time receivers, but you should be really, really excited about Jamir Brown. You should be really, really excited about Jameer Whyce.
And he's going to be presumably committed forever, and old news. And then when other guys go away or decommit or cut Ohio State out of their top 4, it's, there's going to be consternation and devastation. And it's like, but, you've got Jameer Whyce, and presumably they'll have some others with them. But yeah, that's it would be good. When Zach Harrison chose between Ohio State and Michigan, is that was a big thing because he was a known quantity.
Yep.
Jameer Whyce, you see, for most of us, you see the commitment's okay, I don't know what that means. 2028, that's a very long time away. But then we'll watch the development and be like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. But yeah, it is unfortunate that he doesn't have his opportunity to, blow up the internet.
Yeah. So really nice pickup here. Really, really important one. You want to lock these types of guys down. Such an important position too for the Buckeyes moving forward. And there's been some angst about defensive line recruiting. Like I said, Ohio doing its part and kind of developing or producing some of these guys would be nice. Or you're not fighting the SEC schools in their own backyard for all these guys. So having one in the backyard just makes it so important for the Buckeyes. So great job by them getting this done early. This is a big-time player. Going back to the thoughts about, not necessarily having the branding yet, I look at this kind of like Sam Greer too, and people were asking, where's the big-time tackle in the 2026 class? Well, you already got him. His name's Sam Greer. So remember this in a year when where's the big-time defensive lineman? You got him. You got him. You have one. So if you're asking about it, you should be saying, where's our other big time? Because you already have one. I promise you. So this is a really nice pickup.
And correct me if I'm wrong. It feels like this is wrong. Is he the first commit from Trotwood since Cam Burrows in 2013 or so? It feels like there's somebody else in there, but I can't recall who. Because they've had linemen go to Missouri, and they've had players go to Michigan.
No, I think that's right.
Yeah. So it's been a while.
They've looked at a couple guys, but I believe that's right. And we're thinking, because I'm thinking I won't get confused because Mo Douglas was at Trotwood for all those years, and now he's at Springfield. So I'm trying not to cross my Trotwood and Springfield wires there. But I believe you are correct about that. So been a lot of good players out of that program. A lot of them went to the MAC or Cincinnati or another Big Ten school, or, like you said, another like a Kentucky has gotten a few of them. Mike McCray went to Michigan, who's now coaching in college. So there's a lot of history there, but first one in a while, but again, big time prospect. So great start to Ohio State's in-state recruiting efforts in that 2028 class. We will be back here. We're going to have another episode to show you guys here. We're going to get this one up first, but we got another one coming So stay tuned here at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. You can also check us out at BuckeyeHuddle.com to discuss the big news. We got an article posted. I'll get this podcast embedded in that article. And again, good news for the Buckeyes on the recruiting trail. It's a good time to be a Buckeye, winning in recruiting and winning on the field. So we'll see if they can continue that here this weekend against Wisconsin. So stay tuned to BuckeyeHuddle.com for that as well. Our guys will be in Madison covering that as the Buckeyes look to go 7-0 and maintain their number one ranking. Thanks, Tony, for hopping on here for the breaking news, and we'll be back here with another one soon.